Hey everyone, this is John from Vitesse, here from the Vitesse studio. With us we have a 2016 Yamaha R3. We're going to be installing the Tactique Series Crash Protection products on this particular bike. Now our products do fit models 15 to 18. We'll be installing frame sliders. Now these are no-cut frame sliders. We'll be covering all the installation in part 1 of this series. Part 2 will cover installation for front and rear axle sliders, bar ends, and spools. Let's get to it. Alright, first order of business is frame slider installation. Now it's not too complicated, but we'll go over all the bolts and clips that need to be removed. Tools that are required for this: simple 4mm Allen key and stubby Phillips screwdriver. We'll begin by removing this plate right here. We got 2 4mm screws right here. Remove them completely, set them aside. Make sure not to lose any of these screws. And we're going to go ahead and remove this plate right here. We'll begin from the front over here and pop that out. There's 2 anchor points in this area right here, this area right here, and it's grabbing on to the inside of the seat here. So we want to push it outward and down. It was grabbing onto the bottom here also. Just go ahead and pull it out. Now we can set this plate aside. And we're going to be moving down right here to the lower 4mm bolt. Set that aside. Move a little bit forward. This location here, another 4mm bolt. All right. Working our way up, we have one in the middle here. We have a clip here. This is a 1/4 pin clip. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver for this. Quarter turn. And you can either use your nails or push it from the back and it should pop out. That's inside. Next, 4mm screw right on top here. And another one right at the top in the front. Once we have those removed, we're going to go ahead and change angles and grab a couple of clips on the inside here. Okay guys, we're moving on to 2 clips on the inside here. First one is right here. Now we're taking a Phillips screwdriver. Chubby one is a little bit easier. There's a 1/4 turn pin. Turn it, pops out like that. Then you can just go ahead and grab it. Pull it out. Now to remove this front one, we turn the handlebar to the right. There's one right behind here. We're going to turn the handlebar to the left. Second clip we'll be removing is right here. Again, Phillips screwdriver, 1/4 turn. All right, once that pops out, just wedge your fingernail underneath, pull that right out. And then we'll be moving to the underside, right above the tire. All right guys, we're moving to the inside of the well here. Right behind the blinker, we have 2 1/4 turn pins here. We're going to go ahead and remove those. If you need to, go ahead and hold the pin while You turn the little clip in the middle, pull that right out. The second one here. Now, if it's a little tight, I need a clip remover or a flathead screwdriver. You just wedge it underneath the clip and pull it out. We're moving a little bit further down. Now, this is a Phillips screw right here. Right. Moving further down, we have two more Phillips right here. Set that aside. And we have one more quarter turn pin towards the bottom here. Same thing, quarter turn. Pop that out, and now we can move back to the side and continue with the installation. We have two panels that we'll be removing. This upper portion right here and this rear portion. We'll remove this one first. Now we're going to begin by pulling out this rear side, and the whole part is going to move slightly forward and back. So we'll clip this and move it backwards. Just take your time. There's a few clips all around the edge here. You don't want to break any of these. Slowly work yourself out, and that is removed. Set this off to the side. Second panel is this right here. Now there's a clip holding it on right here. We're going to move this portion forward. That pops out. Move to the bottom part here where the bolt was removed. There's a clip holding on to the body part here. You want to take out the front and unclip the anchor here. And there's some brackets right here holding on to this piece. Just kind of work your way up and unfasten those. There it is. Now that's removed, we can go ahead and put it to the side. Now I'm going to grab 10mm socket. We'll be removing this bolt right here. This bolt will give us access to the removal of this third and last piece. Alright, this panel is now free, and we can just separate it from the rest of the bike. First thing we want to remove is this portion right here. This top portion here has a clip, just goes down and out. We're going to go ahead and pull this side panel outside. So down and out. Pull that out. Once those two pieces are separated, I'm going to work myself up from down here. Now there's an anchor holding on to the side panel here. I'll start off from down here. Pull that out from the anchor. I'm going to push it forward. Release it from the final anchor points at the front. Just be careful, the blinker is still connected to the bike. I'm just gonna move this to the side here. We can find the clip here. Now, if you need a second set of hands to hold the fairing, find some help and just go ahead and all the fairings have been removed. We can go ahead and set this aside and proceed installing our frame sliders. Now that we have all the body panels off, we can remove the 2 engine bolts that we will require to mount the actual frame slider. We have gone ahead and removed one of the engine bolts right here, and the second one that we'll be removing is right here. Now for removal, we'll be using a 10mm hex socket. Now before we begin, I just want to clarify one thing. Inside your kit, you're going to find 2 length bolts. Now the longer bolts are going to be the ones you use for the engine bolts. So longer ones will go right here, the ones we're replacing now. Using a regular ratchet, you can use a slightly longer one if for any reason the bolt is too tight. But removal of these bolts should be straightforward. Before I remove this one completely, I'm going to go ahead and replace the top one first. Don't want to remove both of them completely at the same time. This might cause the engine to sag. We want to find our adapter bar here. Now there's 2 sizes of adapter bars. Be sure to refer to your installation manual. The right side has a slightly longer one, left side has a slightly shorter one. This upper bolt has the stubby adapter here. We can find the slightly longer bolts and pre-assemble this. We can find our thread locker. We're going to place a drop of thread locker at the end of this bolt. We begin by screwing it in by hand. Make sure the thread catches correctly. Once you're pretty confident that the thread caught correctly, we'll proceed by using a tool. I'm not going to tighten it all the way. Once you have that bolt inside, you can remove the second bolt from down here. Got that off. Now we want to find the smaller of the adapters. Go ahead and place it inside. Find another of the long screws. Another drop of thread locker at the end. Bring up the bar around the hose here. Knead it with the adapter inside. And start threading it by hand again. Now I'm sure the thread caught correctly. I'm going to proceed to use a ratchet. Alright, once that's a little bit tightened, we can go ahead and get our torque wrench and tighten it to torque specs. We will begin to reinstall the body panels and finally install the frame slider once all the body panels are back on the bike. We have gone ahead and replaced all the body panels on this bike. So there's 4 panels in total. First one we replaced is this big one in front. Be sure to reconnect the blinker in the back here. Second panel is the top one here. Third panel, and fourth and final one. One thing to note, we will still be installing the left side, so I have not replaced 2 screws and 1/4 pin from the bottom portion here. So let's go ahead and do final step of the right side. I'll go ahead and grab my adapter, bolt with washer. I'll place 1 drop of thread locker at the end here. I'm going to mount it flush against the adapter bar and hand tighten it. Again, be sure the thread is caught correctly before using any tooling. As you're getting tighter, be sure to have that Alpha Vitesse logo right up. And torque to recommended specs. Now the right side installation is complete. We can go ahead and install the left side. Have this bike ready. We have gone ahead and removed all the body panels from the left side of the bike. Now, if you have any problems with the pins, you can go ahead and use a pin remover tool, but it should be pretty straightforward. We have the bike naked here, and we can continue mounting the frame slider adapter bar. It's going to be a 2-bolt mount again. So we'll be removing this bolt and this bolt right here. Now, we will be removing a cap from this location here, which I have already removed. Remember, take 1 bolt out at a time, so we'll be removing this one first. Just a reminder, inside of your kit, you can find 2 size bolts. The engine bolts will be the slightly longer bolts. And these do not require a washer. The slightly shorter bolt, which is meant for the puck, will require a washer. For this side, we're going to use the chubby spacer here. Go ahead and pre-assemble this. And grab our thread locker. There's a drop of thread locker at the end of the bolts. Begin by threading it by hand. Once the thread is caught, you can continue with the tool. Once you have it in at least 3/4 of the way, you continue by removing the bottom one. You set those bolts aside. Now this side takes the smaller spacer. Again, slightly longer bolt. I'm going to go ahead and place the spacer inside. Don't forget that thread locker at the end of the bolt. One drop there. Start threading it by hand. And proceed with your tool. Alright, now that's fully tightened, we can go ahead and reinstall all the body panels. Again, we're going to backtrack. Similar process, make sure all the screws are in, make sure all the pins are in, make sure all the body panels are firmly in place before placing any of the pins. So let's do that real quick. We're going to finalize this bike now by installing the actual frame slider on the adapter. Now, all the panels have been set, all the bolts have been installed, including the clips on the underside and the inside here. We've gone ahead and pre-assembled our frame slider here with our bolt, washer inside. We place a drop of thread locker at the end of the bolt here. firmly place the base of the adapter on the interior bar and hand thread it. Make sure the thread catches correctly. Once you got that, we'll go ahead and continue with the tool. Make sure that Alpha Vitesse logo is big enough, and we can torque it to recommended specs. Once that's complete, now you got frame sliders on your bike. Part 2 of this video will follow installing front and rear axle sliders, bar ends, and spools. Should be a pretty fast installation. This was the longer part of the installation, so we'll see you in the next one. Alright guys, now that this bike is completed with frame sliders, we're going to be moving on to the second part of the video and be installing the rest of the kit. Be sure to like and subscribe and catch us on the next video.